Hello and welcome. My name is Zaffar Iqbal, and you are watching the Mojo Story. A very important press briefing, not a press briefing, but an address by Air Chief in which he gave specific details about Operation Sindoor. Now, Indian Air Force took down 6 Pakistan Air Force aircrafts, including 5 fighter jets. Those were the details that were given by the Chief of Air Staff, uh, uh, AP Singh, a short while ago. He gave specific details on what happened during Operation Sindoor, how the terror camps were selected, targeted, and destroyed, all the time ensuring that there is no collateral damage. The air chief also showed visuals of those terror camps before they were struck and after they were struck, the damage that were caused to them. He gave many other important details like the role of S-400, how S-400, he said, was a game changer. Now, Air Chief also said that what exactly happened on that night when India struck the terror camps. He said that when the mission was completed and the targets were achieved, Indian DGMO did get in touch with the Pakistani DGMO and said that India did not mean any escalation or the targeting of military installations, but Pakistani DGMO said that आपने हमें मारा है, हम आपको मारेंगे और उसके बाद देखेंगे. This is the word that were used by the Pakistani DGMO. And then afterwards, there was this exchange. He also specifically said that Noor Khan Air Base of Pakistan was targeted because India had information that all those installations were being used by Pakistan to carry out attacks on India. But more importantly, he said Indian Army, Indian military, and Air Force were given a free hand during Operation Sindoor. There was clearly no pressure from any side, no restrictions laid. They were given a clear mandate to plan and to execute this operation, and they did according to the way that they wanted to do it. To discuss more on this, we're joined by a special panel today. Let's introduce our panel. Major General Dhruv Katoch, he joins us. Welcome to Mojo Story, sir. He's the Director, India Foundation. And we're also joined by Air Marshal Sunil Nandokar, military veteran. Welcome to Mojo Story. And also Praful Bakshi joins us, ex-wing commander and a fighter pilot. Welcome all to Mojo Story. But before I go to our panelists, let's play a sound bite of the air chief when he was giving details about what exactly happened and how that operation was carried out.
A different kind satellite which is giving you. So here, sorry. So here you can see the damage, which is of course not coming out very clear in this, but other pictures, here these two buildings, you can see the damage much clearly. Again, another big set of buildings, and you see the damage that is coming out. What I can show you here is there's hardly any collateral that you see. Of course, from that distance, it is not very easy to make out, but still all the adjacent buildings are fairly intact. The buildings that were targeted were based on intelligence. And this is the main building of theirs, where the weapons have gone in, and it's badly damaged. Now, one thing which was good this time was that not only did we have these satellite pictures, we also had a lot of input from the locals, media, which was giving us the inside pictures, because these were areas which were open to public kind of areas also. So there were a lot of people who were going in and out. So on the net, we could get pictures like this and videos like this. This is the same building that I just showed you. If you look at the damage that has been caused inside. It's all on the open net available. So I've also picked up from there.
These are the before and after images of the damage that were caused on terror camps in Bahawalpur, which is the headquarter of Jaish-e-Mohammed, and at Muridke, which is the headquarter of Lashkar-e-Toiba, and there was hardly any collateral damage. Those are the details that have been put out, and also saying that not only satellite pictures but also from other sources like local media who got the pictures from inside. Now, all of this is absolutely new. We've been hearing lots of things since the operation was carried out, but for the first time, there is an official confirmation that six Pakistani aircrafts, including five jets, were taken out. Major General Dhruv Katoch, how significant is this? We have been hearing since the operation was started that terror camps were demolished and Pakistan was given a befitting reply to its uh, uh, to its attacks that were carried with drones and with missiles. But for the first time, we're getting this confirmation that five Pakistani jets were taken out and another aircraft was also taken out as well.
Thank you, Zaffar. Zafar, firstly, this was an Operation Sindoor was an operation led by the Indian Air Force, and it was remarkably successful. Successful on many counts. But I think one of the most important things to note is that the precision, which was the precision by which the targets were hit, and the precision, I'm not talking in terms of 5 meters or 10 meters. The precision
Yeah.
was 0.5 meters. I mean, the missile went exactly where it was supposed to go in all in all these operations. Now, basically, two things were carried out. When we are talking of the first night, the initial attacks, that was the time when there were these two targets, Bahawalpur and Murid K. They were in Punjab and they are depth targets. They're well in depth. And when you look at those people, because there were also religious structures there, and these are the basic headquarters of the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed. It was their headquarters. There are a range of civilian buildings all around it. If you look at any place in Delhi or any of the cities of India, you look at any religious structure, you see the number of civilian buildings which are around it. Now, the trick was to actually only hit the target and nothing else. And that was what was achieved. And these two were totally destroyed. Now, the other point is that is where this operation ended. When the Air Force took out these two targets which were in depth, and the army took out the targets. Five of them were in POK, and there were two more in Sialkot. But they were very close to the border, within 30 kilometers. Now, these targets were well in depth. Now, after that, of course, we all know that the Pakistanis retaliated. We stopped their attacks. But ultimately, while attacks also took place on the next two nights, ultimately on the 10th, the Air Force hit again. And this time it was a tremendous hit. And a series, their entire Air Force was crippled to the extent of 20% capacity, which is huge. 20% is huge. And which is why they actually begged for peace after that. Now, the question of the five aircraft, I'm not still very clear because in my opinion, in my belief, these five aircraft which the air chief is talking about, they were shot in the air. They were not the ones which are in the hangars, which we have taken down. So the one AEW aircraft and the five fighters, in my opinion, have been shot in the air. That means they were flying and we took them down. A large number of their aircraft have also been lost in the hangars. We don't know those details, which is why I think the Air Force is not claiming how many they are. But we are absolutely certain that there would have been aircraft in that hangar. There could have been anything from 2 to 8 aircraft of the F-16s, the JF-17s, and we also know that where we destroyed the UCAV of the Honglun 2 of the Chinese. That hangar actually can hold 3 to 4 of these drones. We have claimed one, but perhaps there are actually more than one. So I think the Air Force has been very conservative in actually claiming whatever they have claimed, for the simple reason that the Indian political department, the opposition, every time you tell them something, they want proof. So what has been laid out of the Air Force is actually can be verified, or if anybody wants to check it, there is evidence available with the Air Force of that destruction, which is why
Right.
this has been, and where they know it has been happened, but you can't physically prove it. I don't think that has been claimed yet. But I think that as time goes by, more and more data will come in. and the full extent of the damage caused will come in. But
Right.
regardless of that, the Air Force, the Pakistani Air Force was totally crippled. They had absolutely no capacity to operate, and they lost as high as 20% of their assets.
Right.
Zaffar.
Praful Bakshi, I want to come to you. What is significant is another thing that he said, that there was no restriction on the Air Force to plan and to execute that uh, operation in the first instance and all through those 3 or 4 days. We saw in the parliament, the leader of the opposition stood up and he said that a narrative that's being peddled that India lost its jets because the hands were tied, because, there were instructions from the top not to attack Pakistani military assets. But that is not the case. That narrative has been completely demolished in today's briefing, where the air chief has clearly said that there were no restrictions and whatever was done by the Air Force. They carried out these operations, but at some time they stopped. They didn't want to escalate it further. So it was entirely the decisions were taken by the military. There were no restrictions from any other quarter.
Absolutely right. You see, whenever there are operations like this, and if there are too many agencies giving their inputs, then they do not know what is has actually happened. The armed forces, the military commander, especially the air commander, had been given complete, clearance as to this is the targets and we have to be destroyed. The
Yeah.
government never said ki, this is a target to destroy and don't touch anything else. Yes, it was implied that you will not attack any civilian area. That's right. There's no doubt that this is a basic rule also, that you have to you put in an attack in a way, you plan out your direction of attack, etc., so that the civil is harmed minimum. That like we did in Dhaka, like the governor's house was carried out. The whole night, the commanding officer, that time a wing commander called, the later air chief, they said they were actually measuring it with the shoelace, which direction to take. That is to protect the civilians. And let me assure you, this precaution was taken even this time. Besides that, no other restriction was placed at all. So if we think that any restriction was placed on us, I personally feel we have to correct them. Yes, when some other commander somewhere in the embassy, etc., when he's talking, it's a semantic error. Whether he's conveyed the right word has he used or not. Probably he was not prepared. That's what that naval captain, when he made a statement in
Yeah.
the embassy, he did not mean that government stopped Air Force from not attacking military. No, it is
Yeah.
understood because we had said, and the government had said, we all agreed that the terrorists are being controlled. Unke Aka hai, army commander. We all said it on television. It means army will object. Their air defenses will work when you are entering. When having known that air defense will be activated, the radar will pick you up. You think we are not going to take evasive action? Whether you take passive evasive action or active depends upon the circumstances and the weapons available. So I assure you, there was nothing of the sort. It has been misconstrued by parties who don't understand or parties who are deliberately doing it. We have both type of jokers here in India, which are those who are particularly interfering and trying to twist the thing by saying, what happened to you? How many you lost? They are not asking what results you got. Did you get the results or not? So this aspect is okay. We have to live by it. But I personally feel our public relation has to work little harder. They have to clarify. We don't have to keep clarifying later on and later on. If the PROs of 3 service PROs were active, this thing wouldn't have happened. Because I know how that department works. They are working under somebody else. That is the problem which we had. We could not convey things properly and clearly.
Right. Sunilji, I wanted to come to you for a specific point. While he was making that presentation, he said that it's always been the dream of the Air Force to go inside and to strike. And he said that his dream got fulfilled just before he retires. And how significant it is for the Air Force, because we've been hearing since long that Indian Air Force has the capacity and the capability to do all that it did, specifically target the terror camps. And this was the day when all of this happened, and all those terror camps were demolished. How important is this single move uh, in the entire, uh, you know, uh, history of confrontation between the two countries?
Yeah, Iqbal, thank you very much, first of all, for this specific question. Thank you for calling me on this program, and very good afternoon to you, my co-panelist, and all the viewers. Before I start, Iqbal, I've got very short time, so I will answer your question, and I will request you to take me off the screen after that, unless you want to have a quick another
Yeah,
follow-up
yeah,
question, because
we'll do
I'm
that.
engaged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Uh, Good question, Iqbal. Uh, I have flown MiG-21 Hunters and Jaguars, and the Jaguars came in 79 to 81 period as a deep penetration strike aircraft. So I very well understand the sentiments of the chief when he said that our motto used to be strike deep and strike hard, and that is what we have done during Operation Sindoor. So I'm very proud of the Indian Air Force per se. Uh, Now coming to your specifics, Air Force is meant to have a complete dominance in the air with all kinds of weapon systems that it has. What I mean by that is you will have the air defense, which will be impregnable. You should have both aircraft, UAVs, drones, missile systems, which with which you should be able to strike enemies' key targets that you have planned over a period of time. Now, when we talk in terms of the first night when we carried out strikes on the terrorist camp or terrorist network support areas, these targets did not pop up overnight. They were being monitored over the years. They were being, tracked over the years. The specifications of the target as to where exactly to pinpoint your weapon within that target system was known both to the pilots, to the missile batteries and units of all the three services. Because this doesn't happen overnight that you just suddenly start looking at the target and achieve a pinpoint accuracy. And same was the case with the drones unit. So the pilots, the drone operators, the missile operators, they know exactly where to send their weapon systems for targeting, giving a very pinpoint accuracy, like what General Katoch has covered. Sub-metric accuracy is what we are achieving with some of these weapons. And we have weapons with up to sub 3 meters and sub 10 meters accuracy. So depending on what and where we want to target, depending on the aim of the commander, we achieve this accuracy and targeting and the level of destruction that we want. So therefore, once the go-ahead is given by the higher authorities, the all the three services chiefs give specific orders to their commanders to achieve what is required to be achieved in terms of targeting. And that is exactly what we achieved on the first night, where we attacked the target, the terrorist infrastructure within Pakistan, whether it was close to the border or whether it was well in depth. And that is exactly what the air chief was indicating. And when he said that at such a distance, the accuracy of the when we do the BDA, that is the battle damage assessment, when we do, the clarity may or may not be as much as the weapons clarity in terms of targeting was. So that is perfectly in order, but we have some kind of proof. Now, whether opposition is asking for proof and more proof and all that, I will leave it for the politicians to, debate that, and I won't comment on that either ways. But idea that when air chief says that whatever aim was, or whatever was the task given to the services, those have been achieved in every single case. As far as our capability to go in depth, Iqbal, today we have the capability with the air-to-air refuelers, with the long-range fighters and missiles that we have. and the drones that we have recently acquired, we have the capability to cover the entire breadth of Pakistan, the entire length of Pakistan. So therefore, the capability exists, the intent exists, and all that is required to be done is execution, and that is what the air chief was talking about. That the execution was done with precision, accuracy, and the results are here for us to see, and Pakistan to actually feel the results. Because the very fact that on the third day, whether it was who called home first is immaterial, but whether there was a there was a request or there was a consideration for ceasefire, and the ceasefire happened. So therefore, if the Pakistani DGMO says that if you have hit us, we will hit you back, and at the end of third day, when we struck nice and hard and deep and struck well, and guys, what we have done, what has been the impact of it, and what are the lessons learned from this operation. Those are most important things for all the three services, particularly for the Air Force, because we have activated our information warfare, we have activated our cyber warfare, we have activated all the vectors that we have, long range vectors, we have activated our entire air defense system, which is so well integrated today,
Yeah.
and what has been the impact of it and how we can better if situation demands in future is what we are
Right.
required to assess. And I'm sure that under the able guidance of the present air chief, all these activities are going on. So therefore,
Yes.
long and short of your question is, we have struck well, we have struck hard, we have struck deep. Results are there for Pakistan to feel.
Just before you go, just one point. He specifically spoke about S-400. He said that it's a game changer. Do you think that was an important factor in this confrontation that really put Pakistan on the defensive? Pakistan couldn't do much. It couldn't really carry out those actions which it wanted because the S-400 just kept its assets in bay.
Yeah, Iqbal, specifically this system, air defense system that we have acquired from Russia. Uh, I mean, I was there in air headquarters when the entire activity was happening. So I can very confidently tell you that Air Chief Marshal Dhanova, when he proposed to the government that this is the system, if we do not get it in a hurry, and in fact he prioritized this system over the fighter acquisition at that stage for time being, because there were a lot of ifs and buts going on in that acquisition, and he insisted that S400 system should be acquired as a government to government process as early as possible, and that is what happened. And Russia was fast enough to respond to our request, and the results are here to see, because the Pakistanis can claim whatever they have to claim, but from their small drones to their fighter aircraft and their missiles, we have been able to intercept because of the integration of S400 in the entirety of the air defense system that we have, because we have legacy air defense systems such as SAM 3s, we have legacy air defense systems such as EGLA, we have Army L-70 guns, and all these things are integrated into a integrated air defense system by the under the guidance and the responsibility of the Air Force. So Indian Air Force has done its bit, whatever is required at that time, whosoever was the decision makers, they have supported, and it has been a good acquisition. And subsequently, the integration of this weapon system well into the entirety of the air defense umbrella of the Indian Air Force has been a great achievement for this country to make sure that our skies remain safe from intrusions. So I think his statement carries a lot of weight, a lot of meaning when he says that it was a game changer. It was truly a game changer, and I think our air defense is in safe hands. Only thing that now whatever we have spent in terms of uh, our weapon systems, in terms of our whatever damages has been created to our ground support systems to these air defense systems, we have to look at replenishing
Yeah.
these systems very
But
quickly,
that
and that
that
is
is a
what we
process.
require to focus on.
Yeah,
Thank
that's a
you.
process. That's an ongoing process. General Katoch, I want to come to you because he specifically spoke about ceasefire. What was said at that point in time? In fact, let us play that soundbite first uh, before I can ask you that question.
And that is what is continuing, continuously driving the conflict which are going on. I think we set a very good example. Our objective was very clear. Our objective was to teach the terrorists a lesson that they will think twice before doing something, or they know what kind of price they can pay. And once we have achieved those objectives, we should look for all windows of opportunity to stop that, rather than just continue. We were actually on a song that night. I heard from so many people. I don't want to say that, but some people very close to me have said, "Aur marna tha." I'm telling you that. But can we continue to be at war? No. Why should we be at war when we can avoid it or we can stop it? That is my way of looking at it. I think nation has taken a very, very good decision. And we were a part of that decision, but it was cannot be taken at our level. It has been taken at much higher level, but it was a good decision. Now we have to make sure that we remain steadfast that should we need to again do something, we are not found wanting. But what to do, that call will be taken at much higher level.
General Katoch, we were on a song that night, and some said, "Or marna tha." Very, very important words by the air chief. But at the same time, some thought that this should not happen and this should be prevented, in the sense that the terrorists and their handlers should understand that there is a price to pay if they continue doing all of this. What are your thoughts?
Actually, when you look into what has happened on the 10th and why we took a ceasefire, I think we've got to go back to the 6th, in the night of 6th, 7th, when we carried out the initial attack. Now, prior to anything happening, the aim as far as the armed forces was concerned was that we will keep the escalation under our control. We will say how much escalation to be done. Now and the aim was never to go for a full-scale war. If that had been the aim, we'd have actually operated differently. So the aim was to inflict the damage, the punishment of Pakistan, and then stop when we wanted to stop. So what happened was that, after the first night, the DGMO spoke to the DGMO and told them, "We have taken out your 9 terrorist camps. We have not hit at your targets, and now we are ceasing operations." So actually, correctly speaking, we had carried out a ceasefire after hitting those 9 camps. But we also warned them that if you take any retaliatory action, then there will be consequences. So you notice, Zaffar, after that, the Pakistanis took retaliatory action on the night of on the 8th and the 9th. They sent numerous missiles and drones into India, and we shot down each one of them. There was zero military damage, though there was some damage to civilian properties. But on the 10th, when we retaliated, and we did carry out a little bit of retaliation on the 8th and the 9th also, but on the 10th, 9th, 10th, that was a complete retaliation. That was the time when we decimated the Pakistani Air Force. And after that decimation, it was the Pakistani DGMO who came and said, "Could we have a ceasefire, please?" So basically, the Indian Armed Forces objective was achieved. The political objective was achieved. And there was no reason to continue the war unless, of course, it was a question of, okay, let me destroy a few more aircraft or a few more, But would that have made a difference? Would that have made any material difference? Either you go for a full-scale war and say, okay, we'll finish off Pakistan to the end, we'll get Munir as a prisoner of war and Sharif as a prisoner of war, and have an official surrender the way we did in 71. Now, that may take time. It may take a month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. We don't know. Does India want to go that path, or do we simply want to convey a message, which was the aim? And that message has been conveyed. We got them on their knees, and they begged for a ceasefire. So we gave it to them. I think, in my personal view, while there are two views about it, including in my circles, that we could have carried on for another 2 days and punished them more. But the question is, more never ends. How much more? 1 day,
Yeah.
2 days, 10 days, 20 days. So it doesn't matter when you stop, somebody will always say more. I think we have stopped at the right time. There was no point of taking it up further. And I think it is good for both the countries, especially if Pakistan sees sense now, which I doubt they will. But now the message has been, just one more sentence, Zaffar. The message is very clear now. Next time, we are not going to attack the terrorist targets. Next time, we will attack you first. So they better keep their terrorists under
Yes.
control and stop supporting them. That is the new doctrine which has come in. And I think that is something which people have to look at. We've got a new doctrine. The whole scenario has changed now. And if Pakistan is not careful, they will pay a very, very heavy price in future. Zafar.
Yes, it's a very important point. You said that there is no difference between state and non-state actors. That has been made very clear now. Earlier, the approach was that state actors are different, non-state actors are different. That India will have to go after the non-state actors. But now it has been made abundantly clear that that distinction does not exists at all. Praful Bakshi, if I may ask you specifically about these DGMOs, he said that when the first exchange between the DGMOs happened, the Indian DGMO told him that it's over, we have done what we had to do, let's stop it here. But he said, the Pakistani DGMO said, that आपने हमें मारा है, पहले हम आपको मारेंगे और उसके बाद बात करेंगे. Then it sort of continued for some time. And in the end, the Pakistani DGMO calls and makes a request for a ceasefire. Now, you can see the difference from what he said first and what he said after 3 days. He could have said that on the first day itself.
Absolutely right. But the question is, why couldn't we clarify it earlier? I mean, this lovely debate, discussion we are having, why couldn't the entire body of us convey it to the media that this is what happened? I am trying to tell you, our steps are absolutely correct. The objective was given. Only thing is, I think some commanders had some state actors and non-state actors. When our army commanders had said that Pakistan army commander is the Aka of terrorists, it means he will retaliate moment you enter his territory. It means his air defenses will be on. It means his long-range missile will get you. They're absolutely correct. And Pakistan was not thinking on your lines. So we should have made sure that what we have to do, it goes down our commanders absolutely clearly. And secondly, we did the right thing. We achieved the correct thing. But only thing is, when Pakistan had to come back again to us, that is the time we listen to them, all right. But one thing has to be absolutely clear. Only until last year, we were making that statement, and I'd heard even the top political leaders, हम पहले हमला नहीं करते, जब हम पे हमला होता है तो उचित कार्रवाई करते. These are the correct words. What do you mean? जब हमला होता है, what just has been brought out just now, but General Katoch is absolutely clear. Why you have to wait for him? Why do we wait for that's what the army, the DGM of Pakistan said. We will do what we want to do. This should be our doctrine from now on. If we come to know that 6 months hence or 1 month hence, the attack is going to take place, we should just attack unannounced. And that's what we should do. We should not keep mollycoddling who will think about what and who will say what. That is our problem. And secondly, I again reiterate, all this would have been solved had our internal mechanism of the public relation would have worked out well. If they had done, the colonel from the army PR and the Air Force PR would have said clearly that what we have done. What General Katoch has just said, what it has been brought out just now, it should have been said earlier. Why did we wait?
Yes.
Because we were not clear.
Yeah.
That is the problem.
Let me ask General Katoch. General Katoch, these are very significant and important details. But look, when have they come out? When did this operation end, and how much time has passed in between? Now, in the war of narratives, Pakistan, right from the first day, said that they shot down Indian jets, and that narrative really played on everywhere across the world. Couldn't this have been done much earlier? It is too late now.
No, actually, that is true. Very frankly, when we are looking at narratives, Pakistan has got a very well-oiled machine for narratives. They've been doing that very well, not just now. They've been doing it for decades now. And the Pakistani ISI, they've got, and their entire diplomatic staff is pretty good at this. They spend actually a huge amount of funds on this
That's
PR
right.
business, and they've been doing it consistently. Okay, I have always advocated that the time has come for India. We have got an NSA. Zaffar, this is a very important point I'd like to bring. A national security advisor. We have a national security advisor because the need was felt, and you have seen how brilliantly the present NSA has operated and what a change it has made. I think the time has come to also have a national information advisor, the NIA, to coordinate all these things, that your narrative should be the one which goes across the world and all of India speaks in one voice. It's a very important thing, that to get our perception management in shape. Not that we did very badly, but perhaps we could have done better. Yes, I certainly agree with the Wing Commander Saab. He is very right. Perception management, I have found Pakistanis have been, vis-a-vis Indians, they have done a better job. And here again, I think they did a better job. But ultimately,
but General Saab,
just one minute. Ultimately, what happens is, over a period of time, the truth comes out. The truth has come out now. And incidentally, in Pakistani textbooks, they are also being taught, the Pakistani public, that they won the 1971 war. They have been taught in their schools. So that is the level of, they change the narrative to that extent. Zaffar.
Yeah, but General Saab, you would agree, timing is very important in all of this. When all of this started, there is DG ISPR from Pakistani side who is giving all types of random information and speaking after every 1 hour, after every 2 hours to all the journalists. Now there is a flow of information. We have very structured press conference. We don't have a counter to that. I think that was clearly visible.
That is why I said we need something like the NIA. You need something like that. That means, one of the things that, just as a different sort of an example, why we defeated every single Pakistani missile and drone attack? It was because your air defense was coordinated, from the satellite imagery to the S-400, the medium range missiles, at the hand-end missiles, everything was coordinated. That level of coordination, once you achieve, you have a foolproof air defense. I think we need that sort of a coordination and information also. Today is information war. So while we have a very good system of information per se, that level of coordination by which putting everything together into one narrative, right, which goes across the world and to the country, I think we need to create that. It is, I'll be honest about it, we need to improve that. And Wing Commander Bakshi is absolutely correct when he says that this was a weakness which we need to overcome. Your troops have performed. The political authority did very well. Let me make it very clear. The decision making was outstanding. The military delivered. So the narrative is the thing. I think now we need to get that in order. And once that is done, we should be good.
Yeah. Last word to you, Praful Bakshi ji, before we wrap up.
Zaffar bhai, thank you very much. What I was trying to tell you, and just an hour of discussion has come out, that we army, the coordination, and the air defense coordination, the Air Force air defense coordination was perfect. Why? Because we have been practicing this for a long time. Well, would you know that we have done 32 international exercises in the last few years, including 6 Scope India with America? Every country wants to do exercise with us. For what reason? Because they find the way the Indians have coordination between the services, where the transport command and the offensive command coordinate, where the army artillery and the Air Force air defense coordinate, that is not found anywhere else. Because I personally have traveled around conducting training courses for various armies. Believe you me, they actually consider us superheroes as far as this game is concerned. So it was pretty clearly evident what we did. But very unfortunately, we even don't know ourselves. That is a very big problem. Our standard is very high. Everybody looks up to us. Every country wants to do exercise with us. Russia, Singapore, France, America, everybody. So that is the main strong point of ours. We should play on it. Thank you.
Right. Before we wrap up, I wanted that soundbite to be played where Air Chief said that there were no restrictions. In fact, the plan was conceived and executed by the military without any interference. That's a very significant point, and that busts the opposition's narrative that they have been putting out so far, and many reports also that suggested that the hands were tied and they could not really do much because their hands were tied. Their hands were not tied. Let's hear what the Air Chief had to say.
If I can say, what were the reasons for success? One, which I can think of, is that there was political will. I'm being very, very candid here, very open here, because I hear various versions of it. I think if I tell you something, people will have to believe, because I was there listening to everybody, attending every meeting. There was very clear political will, very clear directions which were given to us, and there were no kind of restrictions which were put on it. Many people have spoken somewhere. Unfortunately, everybody is speaking about it. Ki kuch na kuch main bol dunga is bare mein. So there have been talks about, was there any restriction? Were you kept constrained? If there were any constraints, they were self-made. We, the forces, decided what will be our rules of engagement. We, the forces, decided what will be the escalation ladder that we want to ride on. We decided how we want to control the escalation. So I want to make it very clear, there were no, I repeat, no restrictions on us. Full freedom was given to us to plan and execute. I must say that, that our attacks have been calibrated because we wanted to be mature about it. A little bit on that I'll come to later. There was synchronization between forces. All four of us, CDS, the three chiefs. I must say here that the post of CDS has made a difference there. He was there always to get us together, discuss things out, iron things out. Wherever required, we all used to go to the senior leadership and discuss things out. NSA played a very, very big role, in getting all the other agencies and forces together. So there were so many meetings conducted, and whenever there was any doubt as to what next step. And most of the things that we did was before this event started, the Operation Sindoor started, because we wanted to threadbare discuss what are the eventualities, what are the possible outcomes, what should be our reaction, how we should react. So when the operations were going on, it was just on telephone, some calls telling them what we are doing. There were not much of discussion going on. Should we do this now? What do we do now? What do I do? No. I had the full freedom. And like I said, the way Air Headquarters team and the command headquarters, the way we worked together, it was actually...
I had the full freedom. That really sums it up. Thanks so much, Major General Dhruv, Katoch and Praful Bakshi for joining us today and for sharing your thoughts. And thanks to our viewers for watching the Mojo Story. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.